actually going back and reviewing them. So my question in terms of how we structure learning is, do we spend more time asking children to write notes than we do asking children to review notes? And is that sensible on the basis of the evidence? Or should we be spending more time encouraging, directing children to review their notes rather than just write the notes and copy them down? Finally, let me have a little mention of Kobayashi, because he looked at similar things. Kobayashi looked at quite a lot of things. It's a good paper. It's about 20 pages long, takes some reading, but it's good. And again, he looked at a number of things, and particularly he looked at how the note-taking is done and what the impact of that on children's learning was. He looked at a couple of other things in terms of their abilities and things like that. It's all in the paper. I'd encourage you to read it and take your own ideas. Me, I want to focus on one or two points. Firstly, he got the same results as Henk and Starr. Different set of studies, different period, looked at again. Again, he found that note-taking was slightly better than not taking notes in terms of what children learned through the note-taking exercise. It's positive, but it's not really having a big impact on their learning. If you think that children taking notes in your class is really improving your learning, the evidence does not back that up. The evidence says that it's okay, but it's not a great way for children to learn. And when he looked at how the notes were made, he's quite clear that the use of less generative note-taking procedures lowers the encoding effect. That means if children are not generating the notes, if they are just copying the notes, the impact is significantly lower. This is backed up by a study that unfortunately isn't available, but I will share a study that looks at the Bretzing and Harvey study. That one is behind a paywall. You need to be registered with certain universities. You can get access to it, but Appleby has a good report on it. And they actually break down the types of note-taking, the ways of note-taking that are effective or less effective. And what their study shows clearly is that if children are doing a summary of what they are told, or if they are paraphrasing what they are told, this is much more effective than not taking any notes or copying the notes word for word. In fact, not taking any notes and copying the words word for word seem to have the same effect, which is very low. Again, it's not negative. It doesn't make them learn less, but it's very low. And given that the overall impact of taking note-taking is not as high as some of us would like to believe, we need to be aiming for the most effective types of note-taking, which are getting children to write summaries, getting children to write paraphrase of the notes that we're going through. Some of the other topics, some of the other things that Mr. Thomas will talk about in the second section, look at this. Remember, as I said, children have to be taught how to make these notes so that we can do it. That's our job. So in summary, as I'm a few minutes over, I believe that everything we do, we should be following the evidence. And remember, sometimes the evidence is counterintuitive. Sometimes things that we think are true are not true. The same way in medicine, that maybe we assumed that taking vitamins would help us cure COVID, and it doesn't have any effect. The same is true in education. Sometimes things that we do, like the studies in the impact of technology and the way we do them, can have no effect or a negative effect. Secondly, note-taking is a skill, and it should be taught, it should be learned, and particularly we should teach the children the skills of note-taking that will allow them to learn most effectively. Finally, the evidence shows that note-taking is effective, but the effectiveness may be limited. If teachers manage how it is used, it can be much more effective. Things like generative notes, structured time for the review of notes. So that's just a brief introduction to some of the evidence and what the studies show on note-taking and its impact in learning. I will end there, and Mr. Thomas will pick up in a few moments and talk a little bit about what we can actually do in school to make this better. Mrs. Amezwe, if there are any questions, I'm open for questions, or we can have questions at the end, or as I said, we can continue the discussion on LinkedIn and when we share the full reports if people want to read the full studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Derek. You've really taken us through evidence-based learning, evidence-based discussion to show us a lot of things from research and all that. The way we give students notes in our lessons are really not evidence-based. Okay, so I'm waiting for questions, comments. Let the discussion start. Let the disagreement start. Let the comments, the questions, I'm waiting. So I'll give 3-5 minutes to start to receive your questions, your disagreements, because like I said at the beginning, this has been a controversial discussion on note-taking, the way we give notes. Let me just give you like a brief, a little story here. I once worked in a school where for the teachers to get appraised, the students' notes must be filled to the brim with a lot of notes. And the students' notebooks must be filled with a lot of notes. That's one of the appraisals. And it became, I found it difficult to, to apprehend it, to comprehend rather, that in 21st century, teachers are assessed based on students' voluminous note-taking. So we have an observation here. Thank you, David Oluwadara. He says, I have observed that many times students are asked to take notes as a proof, good, that a particular topic was taught. They need to prove yourselves to authorities and parents could have been a factor. I agree. Mr. Smith, what do you think?
It's a great point. There's a deep philosophical point is, why are we teaching? Are we teaching in order to prove things to our authorities and parents, or are we teaching so that children learn? I like to think that our first role is that we are teaching so that children learn. So whatever we do, what should be driving it is that children are learning in the most effective way. Now, as a follow-up, if we need to demonstrate to people certain things, whether children have learned, then our follow-up should be, okay, how can I demonstrate to the authorities, to their parents, etc., that children have learned something? Now, Mr. Thomas will talk about developing pieces of evidence that actually demonstrate that children have learned things that are not necessarily a notebook full of notes. I don't want to steal Mr. Thomas's thunder, but I'm sure when you get to that, you'll hear. And to me, the key is always to remember why we do what we do. We go into the classroom every day so that children will learn. Proving that we have done that is secondary. So whatever we do, the priority should be on making children learn, not producing evidence. And producing evidence, if it's necessary, is a secondary activity. It's almost always necessary. In my school, we're a primary school, we go up to grade 8, year 9. Almost nobody makes any notes at all. We have a whole range of other strategies that demonstrate children understand things that do not involve full notebooks. In fact, my children in primary school have almost no notebooks, and their notebooks do not include traditional notes, because evidencing learning, there are much better ways of evidencing learning than a chunky full notebook of something that was copied.
Okay, thank you, Derek. So Father Kemi, your hand is up. So let's unmute yourself and please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello, Father Kemi.
Thank you very much.
Can
you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I said thank you very much to the speaker. The speaker has given us much food to reflect on, and I'm very grateful that he has actually challenged our culture in this country. There's a tendency to be slow to unlearn things that we've been doing for decades, and that's part of the problem, which is why evidence-based practice is so important. I do have a question about learning styles. So we also know that there are theories that talk about the VARK learning styles. Now, the R learning style applies to both reading and writing. There are certain students who whose learning is enhanced when they're making lists, writing certain things down. So how do these two theories interplay? Talking about the evidence that is there to show the effect of note-taking, and the fact that there are strongly reading and writing as a learning style.
Okay, Mr. Smith, did you get that?
I did. I think, Mrs. Mesway, we had this discussion on Thursday evening.
Exactly, yeah.
Right at the start, when I talked about evidence-based practice, it's very, very important that we follow the current, keep up to date with the most recent research on evidence and education. The issue of learning styles has become controversial to the point that it is almost not believed since around about 2015 and 2016. For those of us, including myself, you may have been a person who attended a lecture that I gave in about 2013, 2014 on learning styles. I gave the lecture in Lagos and in Ibadan. I was asked recently to give the lecture again, and I said no, because actually the current evidence is that children do not have learning styles. The actual evidence based on the studies, the most recent studies, is that that is not true. So I would encourage everybody, and this is not the meeting for today, I encourage everybody to check the evidence, the most recent evidence on learning styles and whether it's true. And I'm well aware that our experience probably indicates that it must be true. And again, there's a, as I said at the end, sometimes the evidence is counterintuitive. And so I'd encourage us to think about that. However, that does not mean that children learn differently. All children learn differently. I think the concern I think that developed and the evidence, I've read it, but it's complicated. I would not give a lecture on VAK learning at this stage ever, because it's too complicated now for me to give my opinion on. But I do believe that all children learn in different ways. So I believe that if you walk into a lesson and you have one particular way that you think all the children will most effectively learn the thing that you want them to learn, we are making a big mistake. So I suggest, I have to say my teachers are not keen on this, but I suggest, and Ofsted expects in the UK, that you have differentiated lessons, and it's no longer differentiated just in terms of Hi.